answer it or defer. But, a lot of people here in Tennessee still have, and this is just my perception of it from talking to people,
Sure.
have resistance to marijuana or any cannabis, whether it's vaping or the gummies or any of that, any form of cannabis.
Sure.
Just generally resistive of recreational. So what is the argument, other than potential tax dollars? Do you have any other argument on why they should be supportive of recreational marijuana use?
We studied in depth what people's opinions were informed by in relation to their opinions on marijuana as we went forward in the campaign. And it seems that if you have a familial connection, you've got some stoner cousin that lives on your aunt's couch and never leaves,
Yeah.
Then you have a negative perception of marijuana. But if you've encountered it through your friends, then you've got a more positive perception because, you're not involved in those people's lives. You don't, it's like, hey, I just know they're a good timer and they don't fight at the bar, right?
Yeah. Well, I said something to you earlier about that. Josh cut over while I'm getting my drink. Anyway, about when I was a deputy all those years, I don't ever remember fighting anybody high on weed. I'd fight people that were drunk, and I fought people on other drugs, but not marijuana.
No, I think that we've got 100 years of prohibition that have informed people's opinions on this, and so they're gonna honestly, what happens is that as the population ages, the people who had the harsher opinions die out.
Yeah.
Now, but like I said, if you look at the demographics in Montana, it was 58%. In a heavily Republican election, like the most Republican election I've ever seen. And so the same people that vote for Donald Trump vote for legal marijuana in Montana. And, if somebody's doing something like drinking alcohol, then I think it's pretty tough for them to say, oh, look at you stoners. You guys are,
I agree.
You guys are the bane of society. I think we all know better than that at this point. And I think that if you have any experience in the real world outside of your home, you know that alcohol is a menace to society.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a marijuana user, but I do regularly drink alcohol. And
Sure.
I agree that marijuana is much less, it causes less aggression, it impairs your decision-making less, even though I personally don't have the experience to really base that on.
Sure.
So
Professional experience, though. I mean, as a police officer.
Oh, no, yeah, but but
say-
even more than that, I've looked at the studies. There have been studies in medical journals that show that there's positive uses for marijuana.
Oh, absolutely.
Even recreationally for people with anxiety or you got a stressful day. Or
I mean, if you choose, let's put them on the board and choose. And you've got the ability to choose between marijuana or opioids or.
Oh, sure. That's another great point. Is here in Tipton County, especially, I know Shelby and all the surrounding counties are dealing with it. Is one of the huge problems that we're dealing with criminal defense is the opioid addiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
People abusing opioids, and I think if marijuana were legal, I don't view it as a gateway necessarily, no more than alcohol.
Well, let's
it may
talk
be something
about
that offsets it.
I think trauma is the gateway, right? I mean, we've all got issues. Everybody's got some kind of issue. I'm not your mama, but.
My mama did tell you hi, by the way.
Okay. I went by the house.
She said, "So good to see you."
I drove by the house the other day, and I was thinking, oh, that's where we used to fight with swords. So,
I got some of the stuff here.
Right.
Where do you see it on them texts?
It's on the comments.
But anyway,
Sorry.
I mean, it's just, I think that people are honest with themselves and they start to drop their hypocrisy. But it's also based on their experience with it. And what's going to happen, guys, is before you ever have recreational marijuana, you're going to have medical marijuana. And then people will see that it's got extremely positive benefits and that it's their teachers and their, civic leaders and the people they go to church with that are getting the salve and getting a little smoke, because they've got liver cancer or because they've got a paralyzed stomach from MS, or they've got PTSD from the war or from a domestic incident when they were married or had a kid or you name it.
Yeah.
Again, I think that trauma is the gateway, and so everybody's got issues, whether they're physical or psychological, and you put them on that spectrum and you say, okay, here's your choices. And in society today, the choices that we lay out legally are horrendous. I mean, here you go. You can either have alcohol or you can go to the doctor and he'll put you on some antipsychotic. And, we can see the results of that in society. I mean, there's, mother's little helper, as it were, so frequently, Xanax prescriptions for folks. And how much of that could we avoid if marijuana were legal and folks could just, have a piece of brownie or, and I don't want to over-medicalize marijuana. I think that there are legitimate uses. I don't think it's going to cure everything. But I've seen CBD salves, and I've seen people respond to marijuana that have Parkinson's in miraculous ways. And I had kidney disease for 2007-ish, when it got really painful, and I immediately went and got medical marijuana, and it kept me from being a dope fiend. I mean, I still took hydrocodone and had to because I had severe pain, but I was able to augment that, so that I didn't have to go overboard with it, so that I could sometimes take a break from that.